She might could get to me. She might could get back to the point where she could still be winning majors. I wouldn't look for that in the upcoming Wimbledon. Maybe win a few matches, but we'll see. I remember in that 2022 U.S. Open, because that's really when I started getting into tennis as far as watching it. It's like they thought she was going to lose every match, and she won like 2 or 3 matches in that tournament before she ended up getting knocked out. They had like basically a video of her, it was basically like her farewell tour, and they had a video for like every match because they thought she was going to lose, and she just kept winning. So I think she could win a few matches at Wimbledon, but and she could get into a rhythm where she could get into a rhythm where she could start winning majors again to me. All right, Spurs next game 3. I know Spurs won, but to me they didn't play with the same defensive level of intensity. Castle wasn't as great of a defender as he was in game 2. Was still a great defender, but same with Harper. All of them. I don't think all of them pretty much put as much ball pressure as they did in game 2, but they came out with a win. And I also think their offense wasn't ran as well. They do what they always do. They move the ball around early in the game. Victor will swing the ball around. But as the game went on, to me, it was more one-on-one ball than last game. And it worked, but I think Castle played a lot of one-on-one ball. Wemby from the perimeter. Harper, there's a lot of plays where it came down with one player, high pick and roll, and that was basically the whole possession. I think they could get more movement. But like I said, they still got the win. And I think when they moved the ball around early, the ball got to Wemby a lot, and Wemby had a lot of early points. And I think that is how they need to play offense. When you're moving the ball, you're going to get the ball to your best players, because eventually you're going to get in a position where you can get the ball to your best player. And they were getting the ball to Wemby down low a lot. He was getting a lot of easy dunks. He was in a position to make good moves down low. I think that's how they need to play. And I think they were looking for Wemby more. They were looking for Wemby to they were throwing him passes that you wouldn't pass most people because he can catch them. And I think they need to do that more. I know Wemby's rookie year, a lot of people were saying, no one will pass Wemby the ball. They're hating on him. Only Vassell is the one that passes him the ball. I don't even think they're hating on him or anything like that. And people don't say that really now, but they're not saying, or I don't think it's players hating on him. I think it's sometimes when you have a player that can catch basketballs that no one else can catch, you don't think he can catch some things that you should throw him. And I think they did a better job last game of just throwing the ball way up to him and letting him go get it. And, I think they should do that more often, because you can throw it up to him a lot, way more often than they do. And if he's doubled and he really can't finish, which a lot of times he's so tall he'll kick it out and make a good pass. So I think they did a better job of getting him the ball, realizing they can get him the ball even when he's heavily covered. Let's see. I mean, like I said, I think the Spurs played better last game. Wemby and Castle had better individual games. They both shot well from the field. Both had over 20 points. Victor had 32, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals. Castle had 23, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He was really attacking the basket well and being efficient. They had better overall games, even though I think defensively, at least Castle didn't have as good of a game. But I think overall the team um, didn't play as well, but they got the win. A tough environment on the road. So, it doesn't really matter. In a sense. You still want to play well, but Devin Vassell, he's really impressed me the more I watch him. I think I underrated how great of a shooter he is. And he's always bringing energy on the defensive end and just throughout the game. He's just playing with a lot of energy and it's helping. Shippenny always plays defense and he's always a threat from the outside. Hit was 3 for 7 from 3 today. When he drives, I think he's a solid driver. I don't think he drives enough. And De'Aaron Fox had another game where he's not efficient. I don't think it really matters. Brunson's not efficient most games. And De'Aaron Fox gets to the basket, gets good looks from the mid-range, creates good shots for other people, had 8 assists. And I think he's a really good player. Like I say a lot, I think his strength and his power is underrated. A lot of people talk about his speed, but I think he's put on a lot of weight since he's been in the NBA, good weight. And he's a really good player. 0 for 5 from 3, but you got to take them. You got to take open threes. If that's the shot your offense generates, I heard a commentator say that one time, that if your offense generates an open 3-point shot for a player that'll shoot threes, basically is what he said, you got to take those shots. So he's got to take them. You just got to make them. Carter Bryant, when he came in the game, it was interesting. I think, he hit a good shot, a 3, and he had a good block, but he also played a little out of control. He had 2 rebounding fouls against Karl-Anthony Towns where he just pushed him down. And then he had one play where Anunoby got a 3 when he should have stayed and closed out on him, but he and Wembanyama both went to another player. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Hart. But, yeah, he's just got to play a little smarter, a little more under control, but he plays hard on defense, and he's a solid player. He's a lot better player than I thought he would be, honestly, coming out of college, and a lot different player. In college, he was like this humongous power forward. To me, it looks like he's lost weight or size. He's not, super bulked up like a bodybuilder almost he was in college, at least for the college level. And now he's slimmed down. He's a guard. He can move around better. He can defend better. And, shout out to the Spurs for having that vision of who he could be as a player, and shout out for him for having that vision as well and going through with it and putting in the work. And he's carved out a rotation role in the NBA. I think Dylan Harper played a lot better than the stats would say. He went 5 for 18 from the field, but he still had 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 13 points. He's really aggressive, was getting to the basket, hit a lot of timely buckets when the game was close towards the end. And, he was struggling from the 3-point line as well, 1 for 8, but he's got to take them. Those are the shots the offense generates. He's got to take those threes, and he's just got to knock them down. So I thought he played really well. I thought Keldon Johnson played good. And I was focusing on him a lot because I really like him as a player. And I've been talking about him a lot on the podcast. And, I think he's just out of rhythm. His coach has been playing him less. He had 17 minutes last game. And honestly, I hate to put it this way because it sounds bad when you're saying a player that – and not that he played bad last night. Especially in the stat sheet, he played better than what it looked like on the floor. But for his standards, I don't think he played good. And, he played good, but he could play a lot better. And I hate to say it this way, but he probably needs more minutes to get in more of a rhythm. I think when you got someone that good, just let them play their way out of it. Because the Knicks really can't stop him, in a sense. He gets to the basket just about every single time he gets the ball. And, he gets a good look, or he gets a good look for somebody else. And, I don't know, when you have someone that's that dominant, that physical in the post or getting to the basket, I think he needs to be in more. And I think he's aggressive when he gets the ball a lot of the time. Sometimes he's not. Sometimes he doesn't do anything and just passes the ball to someone else. But, I think he's out of rhythm and he wants. I think he's wanting to be more of a role player now that just passes the ball around. And whenever he drives, it's like he gets all the way to the basket. And sometimes when you're that good at driving and you're getting all the way to the basket, and you're kind of a little bit, you don't want to shoot because you're out of rhythm and you just want to give the ball up. Sometimes you might not even drive because if you drive, you're so good at driving that you're going to get all the way to the basket and you're going to get a look. So maybe that's going on a little bit. I also think he's less aggressive off the ball. Like there's a lot of times where someone's in the paint and he could be open if he backs out to the 3-point line, but he's kind of like moving in a little and not, creating an opening for a shot from three. And some of that could be he wants to go for the rebound. Some of that could be he's avoiding getting in to look for an open three or to attack a closeout and get downhill. He's also, he used to post up a lot. I don't see him post up as much. He just kind of backs out to the 3-point line when he has the opportunity to post up. I think he needs to be more aggressive off the ball, look for more shots, to me. And he missed some box outs as well. He needs to do a better job at that. But he's a great player. And I think he needs to look for his shot and keep being aggressive because, he went 3 for 5 from the field still when he's out of rhythm. He went 1 for 4 for the free throw line. That's part of the way you could kind of tell he's out of rhythm, but had 2 turnovers. One of them I remember was a bad one. He got down. It was like semi-transition. Gets down to the paint, gets doubled, and he made a bad pass out of it. But he still had a plus 14 plus minus, still shot 60% from the field, had 7 points in 17 minutes. He's a dominant player, and I think he needs to look for his shot. And he could be a game changer if he is playing like the 6th man of the year. I thought Luke Cornett played really well. I thought he played hard. I thought he played physical, had 5 rebounds in 9 minutes. And I think people just need to give him more of a break. I really don't think the backup center is really a need for the Spurs. It's more the power forward, where Julian Champagnie just isn't a power forward. Have a power forward and a backup power forward, honestly. And, I think I think people are, every single time they're like, oh, every time Wemby comes out, the Knicks or whoever plays the Spurs just attacks. And it's like, yeah, that's true. You should point that out. But at the same time, it's like they make it such an indictment on Luke Cornett to me sometimes. Like, he's not a good backup center. When I think he's just not Wemby. Even if you have a better rim protector there, Mitchell Robinson, Rudy Gobert, Jared Allen, they're not going to give the same kind of rim protection that Wemby. Wemby's probably the best rim protector ever at 7'5" and his athleticism. The way he contests shots, it makes it so hard for people to shoot. And you're just not going to get that from Cornett. I think Cornett does a good job of being physical. He's really not a rim protector, but he's physical, he rebounds, he plays hard. I think he does a really good job. They say he's a great teammate. I heard the quote last night of how he said he wanted to be a third of the player that Tim Duncan was, and Richard Jefferson said those are high aspirations, and that's true. So, and I still don't know if he's a third of the player Tim Duncan was, but seems like a good teammate, good player. The Spurs need to do a better job on Josh Hart. They're leaving him open for threes, and Cleveland did that last series, and I don't think it's a good idea. Yeah, he shoots a low percentage from 3, but part of the reason he shoots a low percentage from 3 is because he's not a great, off the dribble, or not even off the dribble, but hitting threes contested. Yeah, but if you leave him wide open, he's going to hit him. So it's not like, oh, this guy's a bad 3 point this guy has a bad 3 point percentage. Let's leave him open to let him shoot. Well, his percentage is going to go way up when you leave him wide open because he hits those open shots when people are leaving him open. So I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that helped Cleveland. They got swept. And Josh Hart is out rebounding everybody. Maybe not exactly like in the stat column. He had 9 rebounds last night. He had tied for the most rebounds, him and Dylan Harper. But even when he's not getting rebounds, he's flying in and causing chaos and tipping the ball out, and someone else is going to get it. He is working so much harder than everybody on the boards, and he's doing a great job with that. And Spurs got to box him out. They missed a lot of box. I said Keldon Johnson earlier, and he might have been the worst, but he's not the only one missing box outs. Spurs got to box out more. So yeah. And then Harrison Barnes didn't get any minutes last night. I know the Spurs won. I think that's a mistake to play Carter Bryant over him, even though Carter Bryant played good overall, a little wild, but he played good. I think Harrison Barnes is a more skilled player, adds an offensive element, and you don't need that extra physicality with Bryant, even though you probably do. But since you got Wemby as a rim protector, I think that you could have Barnes out there, who is a more skilled, better player. To get into the Knicks, how the Knicks played, OG Anunoby has been very impressive these playoffs. To me, he's gotten better at getting to the basket. He's really good when he drives by Wemby at being physical, or drives by anybody, but especially Wemby at being physical, being strong, finishing strong. He likes the 2-hand dunk. He likes using his body to shield off the defender. He's a great shooter. I think that's been going on for a few years. He can hit some tough contested threes, some tough contested shots. Went 9 for 13 from the field last night. He's really strong, and he tries to be physical with Wemby, and he is to some extent. At the same time, I don't think he should be out there at center. And I don't know the answer. I know you can't play Mitchell Robinson a lot of minutes. But I just don't think OG Anunoby is a center. They gotta find a different answer for that. And I don't know if you gotta bring somebody off the bench. Look at the Knicks roster.